Okay, continuation in 5.2, starting with our story problems. This time, question 13, we're starting there. It says, Jessica and Taz are working on a measurement problem. Their calculations involve combining Jess's measurement of 2 meters and 32 centimeters with Taz's measurement of 1 meter and 63 centimeters. Jessica claims you can find the answer just like algebra. Do you agree? So what what she's saying is this, is that 2 meters and 32 centimeters can be thought of as being a binomial. And Taz's of 1 meter and 63 centimeters can be thought of also as a binomial. And since we can think of the units of meters and meters as being like terms, and centimeters as being like terms, can we just combine the meters and combine the centimeters to get an answer? Yes, we can, can't we? So if we did it that way, 2m plus, if we combine that, how many meters would we have? Combining the coefficients, we would have 3 meters. How many centimeters would we have? Combining the centimeters, 63 and 3, we'd have 66 centimeters. So the total combination of those two would be 3 meters and 66 centimeters. Did I make a mistake? Oh, 32. Sorry. So that would be 95 centimeters. Thank you. Question 14 says, oh, we can skip 14. Sorry. Question 15. For each of the following polynomials, write an equivalent expression with 6 terms. So here we're given a trinomial, and all of your answers are going to be different. But it's asked to take that trinomial and rewrite an equivalent value that has 6 terms. So let's just start with each term, and let's just make it as a sum of 2. Now, the easiest one for this particular term, the sum of which 2 terms would be 2p squared, the simplest of all. Yep. Yep. Plus p squared. Would you agree with that? That's another way of expressing 2p squared. Here, we're going to get a little bit more complex because your answers are going to be different. But if I wanted to represent negative 3p with 2 terms, let's just start with a positive p. And if I started with a positive p, what would my second term have to be, Andrew? It would have to be, no, it would have to be negative 4p, wouldn't it? Because in order for, I'll highlight it in green, in order for these 2 terms to combine, I have to make this with it, right? So when those 2 terms combine, it's going to make a negative 3p, correct? And finally, positive 2, if I grab a, let's go blue, that's a pretty one. There are infinite ways to make 2. I'm going to make it as easy as I can, plus 1 and plus 1. That would be the easiest way to make it. So therefore, this trinomial, the equivalency of that trinomial can be that 6-term polynomial of p squared plus p minus 4p plus 1 plus 1. But again, you could have infinite answers. And I'm sure some of you did something like this. Negative 36p squared plus 38p squared minus 112p plus 109p minus 36 plus 38, right? That one there also has the same equivalency of, when I gather like terms, of that one there, etc., etc. Question 16 says, write an expression for the perimeter, which ever since grade 3 when your teacher taught you about perimeter, you've all forgotten what it means. But perimeter is a fancy way of saying the sum of all the sides of a shape. So the perimeter of this one would be the sum of all of those, or 4d minus 5 plus d plus 7 plus d plus d plus 3d plus 1. So all of these combined represent the distance to the perimeter of that shape. Once we have that, we can combine like terms. It's a little complex, but not too bad. Here, it's probably best if you box it all up. Help you see it a little bit better. Do we have any d squares? No, we don't. We just have d's. So 4d, 5d, 6d, 7d, 10d. Negative 5, positive 2, positive 3. So therefore, the perimeter of that, did anyone know what we call that shape? Well, we studied polynomials for more than one number. That is called a polygon, right? A polygon, or a shape with more than one side, I suppose. I don't know, whatever. A polygon. In the second example, we look like we're only given one, but again, if we put the actual measurements here, we now have all four sides. The sum would be W plus W plus 9 plus W plus W plus 9. W plus W plus W plus W is going to be what algebraic term? 4W. Plus 9 and plus 9 is going to make a combined constant of positive 18. So therefore, the perimeter of this shape is 4W plus 18. Question 17 says, draw a figure with a perimeter that is represented by this. So we're going to make a, does anyone know what shape that's going to be without, oh, we're not doing 17? Did I say don't do 17? No. Well, let's do it anyway. What shape will it be? A triangle. So I'm just going to make a random triangle. This will be S plus 6. This will be 5S. This will be 3S minus 2. There's our shape. And then it says, what is the perimeter? The perimeter would be those. So S, 6S, 9S. You guys go ahead. Positive 6 and negative 2 is going to make a positive 4. So therefore, the perimeter of that triangle would be 9S plus 4. Now, on to what we were doing before. A student council decides to raise, is it student council or students council? That's the question. All right, we'll go with student council. Decides to raise money by organizing a dance. The cost of the band is $700. So the student council decides to sell tickets at $5 each. Write an expression for the profit that the student council would make. Here's the question. That's $700. Is that going to be a positive or a negative in terms of the expression of profit? It's going to be negative, right? So S represents, does it even say what the variable is? Or we're going to make T represents tickets. Is that what it says? Yeah. T is going to be tickets. So if I take the tickets and multiply it by F, or S, or if I take the tickets and multiply it by 5, this expression will represent the money. In fact, I'll make it here. The money from ticket sales. Does that make sense? If T is the number of tickets, then multiplying that number by 5, or a coefficient of 5, will represent the amount of money you'll take from it. So this is the amount of money we take at the door, minus the $700 it's going to cost for hiring the band. That expression will represent the profit that the student council would make. So if only one person goes to the dance, the student council will be out $695, right? Does that make sense? If we substitute that one ticket sale, they only made $5 at the door, but they spent $700 on getting the band. They're in the hole $695. But with B, if $250 pay to see the dance, or 250 students pay, then if I substitute that $250 where my tickets was, now I can see how this expression will determine how much money I make. 5 times 250 is 1,250 minus 700. Therefore, the profit will be $550. And the last one says, estimate then calculate the minimum number of tickets to break even, or to buy tickets to make a profit. So what we really need to do is, if this number, that value has to be more than what number in order to make a profit? The value of that expression has to be more than what? 700. If it is less than 700, we lose money. If it's more than 700. So 5 multiplied by what number is greater than 700 is really what we want to think about, right? Does that make sense with that expression? The value of the number of tickets sold has to be greater than 700 to make a profit. So then we could trial and error. I'm going to say it's roughly, well, 100 would be $500, 200 would be 1,000, somewhere between there, right? So I'm going to say 150, maybe. Right? What's 5 times 150? It's $750. So I made profit there, but that's not the minimum. Watch this. If I algebraically divide both sides by what? 5. If I divide both sides by 5, this is a grade 7 algebraic idea. In this inequality, which you'll learn of later on this year, I now have t has to be greater than 700 divided by 5. I take my calculator. 700 divided by 5. Therefore, the exact answer is, if my ticket sales exceed or is greater than 140 people, I'm going to make a profit. Does that make sense? So if 140 people come in, do I make a profit? No, I break even. What about 141? Yes. So therefore, if 141 or more attend, we's in the money. 140 break even, 141 means we make a profit. Question 19. A heating company charges $60 an hour plus $54 for a service call. Let N be the number of hours the technician works in your house. Okay. So again, just like the last one, if it's $60 per hour, then and N is the number of hours, N equals number of hours, then the expression 60N will be the money per hour, or the money per time, per visit, per, the money, how do I phrase that? The money paid, doesn't, whatever. 60N is going to represent the amount of money he gets for his time there, plus he gets $54 just for showing up. So if he shows up at your house and you're like, oh, sorry, I need you for 0 hours, 0 hours. He's like, okay, no problem. So 0 hours plus the $54. He's still going to get paid $54 for showing up at your house, right? Even if he worked no hours, because that service call is going to cost still $54. So your expression would be 60 multiplied by the number of hours he works, that's his hourly wage, plus an additional $54 for showing up. If you work 2 hours, we simply take that expression, substitute 2 for the number of hours, and simplify using bedmass. He gets $120 for the 2 hours of work, plus $54 for the service call. You will have to pay him $174. Wow, that's a lot of money. And C, the company charges half as much for a second technician. Write an expression showing the total cost of 2 technicians install a new furnace. So for this, it would be hold on. The company charges half as much for a second technician. That's an interesting one. Is it half as much per hour or half as much total? So then, therefore, it'd be 60N. Thank God I have smart students. Technician 1. So technician 1 plus technician number 2. That's how much they're going to charge. So technician 1 is going to be 60N plus 54. How much will technician 2 be? Half as much, right? Which will be 30N plus 27. Would you agree with that? Everyone's good on that? When we think about this as combining them, then it's going to be 90N plus $81. So as a simplified expression, technician 1 is that same $60 an hour plus $54 service call, but technician 2 is going to be half as much, $30 an hour plus only $27 for the service call. Combined, they're going to make $90 per hour combined, plus $81 for the service call. Okie dokie pokey. The last question says a publisher makes books for a number of distributors. For one book, they charge the distributor a fixed cost of $3,000. So this basically means the distributor is going to cost you $3,000 for all the work he's going to do to distribute your book. He's going to make phone calls to book companies. He's going to do some advertisements. He's going to put some YouTube videos out there saying, look at this book. You want to buy this, yada, yada, yada. Plus, the publisher is going to charge you to make the book $16 each. So write an expression where B is the number of copies. So if it's $16 a book, then you're going to take the number of books that he buys, B number of books, 1 book, 2 books, 10 books, a million books, and you're going to multiply it by 16 to get the cost of publishing those books. Plus, there's that $3,000 fee, the fixed cost. So that expression, 16B plus 3,000, is the expression that represents the cost to you for publishing that book. With B, how much does 600 books cost? Well, $16 a book means 16 multiplied by 600 plus the $3,000 publisher's fee. $16 multiplied by the 600 books means just the publishing itself is going to be $9,600 to make those 600 books, plus $3,000 for incidental expenses. The total cost of publishing 600 books will be $12,600. C says, what's the cost per book if 600 are ordered? Well, if that's the cost for 600 books, what do I do to figure out the cost of each book? Is it $16 anymore? Did the book cost me 16 bucks a book to make? No, because I have to factor in this as well, right? So I take this and divide it by the 600 books that I ordered. I think you probably do this in your head, but we'll just go here anyway. 12,600 divided by 600 books means that each book actually cost me $21 to produce, right? And instead of ordering 600, if I ordered 1,000 books, that's 16,000 plus 3,000. The total cost will be 19,000 divided by the 1,000 books that I purchased. How much are each books if I order 1,000? What's 19,000 divided by 1,000? It goes down to $19 per book.